I'm gonna go live. Hey, we are live. It is the Lynn and Scott show, and filling in for Scott today is my wonderful little brother, Christopher Rausch, and we'll be
What's
right.
up, Miss Lynn Serrano? Let's rock and roll, baby.
Yes,
How are
we'll
you
be
doing
right
today?
back. We're doing great. We'll be right back after this. Okay, we'll be right back.
Grab your friends, find your enemies and make amends, and we'll meet in the middle. Take the pride and set it aside. My hands will build you a shield, and we'll solve the riddle. And we'll remember these times, we'll remember these times. Oh, 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 oh. And we'll remember these times, we'll remember these times. Oh, 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 oh.
We're back. Welcome, Christopher. Thanks for being here for Scott. Scott's going to be gone for the next 2 weeks, and I thank you for being here. I appreciate
No worries.
you.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. I'll try to do my best to fill Scott's shoes. I don't have any paintings, so I can't show off any paintings, but I can show off a tattoo. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't got a new one yet. I need
he's just like taking off like an amazing artist. So
his stuff is amazing. It is. I mean, he's like, oh yeah, I just picked this up, and I'm just like, oh my god,
look who's here!
Look who's here. Who's here?
Scott.
Scott Jones.
Yes, he's here, but
What's
he's
up,
not
Scott?
here.
Good to see you, brother. He's like,
in
wow,
Atlanta.
This is weird. It's like you're cheating on my wife or something like that.
Yeah. Oh,
good to see you, Scott. Cool. Thank you, brother.
Yeah, he's just amazing. His paintings are just amazing. I should have showed his latest, but we'll wait till he's back. It's just amazing. His art is just taking off. He's just amazing, the work he's doing, and he does intervention, and so he's teaching a class in Atlanta, and then next week he's going to be in Tampa. So he's just traveling, doing his thing. And my friend Chip Kopp is on here, and
What's
I'm
up,
glad
Chip?
you're
Good
here.
To see you, man.
I'm glad you're here live as well. We have a really good topic tonight, and I know that this is near and dear to your heart too, because you are a no excuse, no fluffy coach, and
no fluffy,
and so no fluffiness, no bullshit. We keep it real, and that's what I love. Oh, and we've got Lee in the house.
What's
too.
Up, brother? Lee in the house, my man.
Thank you for being here. So yeah, I asked Christopher what we wanted to talk about, and I used your words here. How can we heal humanity? By first healing ourselves. And we all have things. Look at Chip, he's a musician himself, so he loves to play guitar and sing as well. So yes. So awesome. Yeah, and so does Scott. So I love it.
Put a band together. Let's get the band back together.
I know, right? So it really is. And music is a big healing thing, for everybody. I mean, it just soothes the soul, and it really, I mean, music probably.
I got music. I got tattoos of music on. That's sheet music right there. I've got my guitar on that arm. What's that? I'm trying to see. Got my Les Paul there. Yeah, I love music.
And how long have you been playing guitar?
How long have I been playing guitar?
Yeah.
I've been making noise on. I bought a pawn shop guitar. It's actually hanging on my wall out there. I got it for $25. It had 3 strings on it, and I did that back when I was homeless. So I was probably about 15 years old. I played those 3 strings, and then I got more strings for it and watched this guy. His name was Frederick Node. It was on public access television. I guess he was amazing. He was a famous Spanish guitarist or something like that. So I remember I used to watch his shows on Saturday morning for free, and I would sit there and try to learn. And that guy was way ahead of me. But yeah, so I've been making noise for a while. But yeah, I don't really play that well.
Yeah, well, you know what? Yeah, it would be cool to have Chip, and he's from Billings here. He's in Billings, and then of course you're in California, and then Scott in Florida, and we should just go ahead and just have you guys jamming. That would be totally awesome.
Who's the singer? Because I've actually been practicing my singing again. Don't tell anybody. My wife won't watch this, but I'm gonna actually sing our song to her on Saturday, our 20th anniversary. So I'm going, and I haven't sang in a long time. I've had COVID actually for the last 2 weeks, so I can't really sing. But yeah, I'm actually gonna sing our song, which is a hard fucking song to sing. So I'm gonna try it. I figured if it all comes from love, so I'm just gonna do that. But yeah.
So what are you doing it like just quietly at the house? Or are you gonna have friends over? What's the deets? Tell me the deets.
I'm recording it on my computer first. I'm
Okay.
doing that, and I have thought about we're going out to dinner, so I might do a little acapella, and embarrass her. I'm not sure. Haven't really thought it out.
Oh man, and you know what? If you could get the waiter or somebody like to take your phone and to record it, and you could put that on TikTok, that would be so
Yeah.
freaking cool.
Oh yeah, right in front of the whole restaurant. Who knows?
Yeah,
We'll
yeah,
see.
yeah.
She's kind of iffy about being embarrassed, so I got to be very careful about what I do and how I do it. But yeah, so I'm doing that. All that to say that I'll sing for all of us. We'll pick out some songs and we'll jam.
Oh, that would be so
Since
awesome.
I'm like my fucking chords suck. So
Oh, well, my brother was a musician and he sang and he played piano and guitar and all that stuff. And he showed me how to play Smoke on the Water. I learned how to dan, dan, dan,
Mhm.
dan, 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 dan. So I do remember that.
yeah, you could do that. Iron Man. There's a few things you could do like that are super simple.
Yeah.
Unskinny Erdo, is it Poison? Look what the cat dragged in. Yeah, that was pretty easy.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
all
then
sorts
I
of
know how
things.
to do the Heart and Soul and the Entertainer on the keyboard, but that's about all I know how to do. But and then the little tom thing. So yeah, I love music, but
Well, good. You'll be the you'll
yeah.
be the percussionist.
I'll be just a tambourine girl.
There you
though.
go. There you go. Look at that. Look at how we segue from going from music into no fluffy bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the thing is when you talk about healing from within, and one thing that's so universal, it doesn't matter where in the world, one thing that is very soothing. Hello, Ellie. Thank you for being here. Is music. So, I mean, I think
yeah.
that's something that a lot of people can, relate to. And so, yeah, healing humanity will only happen by healing ourselves first. Absolutely. And the thing is that we forget that people that are hurt people. And the thing is that as long as we keep having people that are hurting people outward, nothing ever gets resolved, and it's just a perpetual thing. And the sad thing is that so many people don't know what they're doing, and they don't take responsibility for what they're doing. They
Mhm.
think it's everyone else's fault. And yet, isn't it funny that when there's a problem, they happen to be around?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
that's
Dude, I've spent my life around those kind of people.
coincidence? I
Mhm.
think not.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, I love coaching and I whatever, but there's to a point where, I feel at this point that I love the book, from Rex, Life on Your Own Terms, and create yourself, create the life you want, in the sense that it's a prerequisite for me for people to read that, because there's just so many people that are not like-minded, or they don't even want to take responsibility for themselves. And I'm just to the point where I can't, I hate to tell somebody, well, you got to start with yourself, right? No, but it's not my fault, because they're so convinced in their story that it's somebody else's fault, that
Mhm.
they've believed their own shit. And this is the problem. It's such a convincing story that they're just so stuck on it. And we have,
Mhm.
this is just a problem. Gandhi, be the change that you want to see in the world.
Yes.
And that's the thing. But this is the problem. When we tell people be the change we want to see in the world, those people that don't get that, they don't get that means the being an inside job and them working on themselves to do that outside. When you try to tell people they have no idea to take responsibility for themselves, what's happening is they're like, well, Lynn, or me coming and say, Christopher, but that person over there, they're not playing the game. They're not doing it. They're not being the change that I'm wanting to see. Don't fucking worry about what they're doing.
Right.
Worry about
None of your business.
yourself.
Mhm.
Worry about yourself. You're not, obviously, if you were doing it for yourself and you were doing it the right way, you wouldn't have to be worrying about anybody else. Oh, there's my friend Lenny from Vegas. Personal responsibility. What a concept, right? And, he was in law
Mhm.
enforcement for years. I know this is probably something that he's just like,
What's up,
yeah,
Lenny? Good to see you. Thank you for being here.
Yes, I'm so glad you're here. And so I bet if it paid good, then everybody would take that accountability. Yeah, right. Well, this is the
It does pay
problem,
great. It
though.
pays great, actually. When you take accountability, it pays great, because you
Yeah.
get to resolve the shit that's going on in your brain, and you get to move on from it.
Well, the thing is, though, is people don't understand that you live with yourself. And so if you be the change that the world should see, you can live with yourself, you can live with your space, then your world is going to be happier. No matter what the fuck's going on the outside, your world's going to be happy. And you're not going to let the outside world mess you up inside. And that's what how you react to the situation.
Totally,
So-
totally. I mean, that's one of the things I teach. The biggest part of it is teaching people how to respond versus react, be able to take that beat. But one of the things I've been teaching a lot of people lately is the AAA effect. It's about being aware of a situation going on in our life that we don't like. Then the second A is accepting responsibility, acceptance. And that acceptance part, sometimes people, like you said, will go into the blame game, or that acceptance is to take responsibility for where it is that you're at in that journey. And then the last thing is to take action. So you ultimately have to take responsibility for where it is that you're in your life. I talk to people every single day and I'll ask them, like, does that bring you joy? And they'll say, no, it doesn't. I'm like, and why are you doing it? Well, Chris, you don't understand. I have to do it. If I don't do it, then it won't get done. I'm like, okay, so if you get hit by a bus tomorrow, who in the fuck's going to do the laundry? Who in the fuck's going to do all this stuff? Who's going to do this stuff? Right? Start solving that for now. And one of the biggest things that I find people are doing is that they're running around with all these things that they're tolerating, and their bandwidth is maxed. So they're sitting there blaming, well, if I didn't have that person asking me for this, and I didn't have to do this for this person, then I could do these things. Well, one of the exercises that I give my clients is I sit there and ask them to write out what they're tolerating from themselves, what they're tolerating from others, and what they're tolerating from objects. And invariably, they'll come back the next week and they'll have a list of maybe 12 or 14 things. And I tell them to go back and really think about what it is they're tolerating, come back the next week. And invariably, again, they'll come back with like 30 or 40 things. And they're like, holy shit, Chris, I didn't realize how much I was really tolerating. I'm like, okay, now that you have a picture of what it is that's going on, what would your life be like? What would you feel like if you didn't tolerate a third of those things? Oh my God, Chris, I can't even imagine. You don't understand. I'm like, okay, well, let's pick this off. Let's figure out what the excuses are, why you can't delegate that shit or stop doing it. And let's talk about that, what's going on in your brain, because so many people either have a victim mindset or they have a victor mindset. And again, that goes back to the conditioning and the people that we're hanging around. So we could definitely get into that, but people have to take responsibility. If something is not bringing them joy, the only person that can decide to change that is the person that's experiencing that. I mean, obviously, you can't run away from some responsibilities, but at the same time, people put more on themselves than they need to do, because it serves as that victim badge. Like, oh, well, Chris, I've got this, or Lynn, I've got this, and I've got all this stuff that they've amassed in their life to take the focus away from what it is that brings them joy, because they think they have all these responsibilities and these duties and that everybody else fucked them over. So now it's up to somebody else to fix them, when that's certainly not the case. And I think that COVID definitely has been that awakening for a lot of people to realize nobody's going to come save your ass. I mean, it's up to you to do the work inside, to seek out and to understand. I mean, that's the reason why I'm sitting here today. That's why, otherwise I would be either dead or in jail. If I took that victim status in my life, there's no way I'd be standing here today.
Look what Scott said here. You can't change what you don't own. That's right. Take responsibility. And that's the problem. Nobody's looking in the mirror. Nobody's looking in the mirror. And they're not looking at the fact that everybody you look at, you're mirroring everything that you don't like about them. It's a mirror of what's eating you, is exactly what's, And so, hi, Mary Kay.
Hi, Mary Kay.
Hi, Michael. And you want to read
this?
Hello,
Michael. Thank you for being here.
You want to read that?
Do I want to read that? Let me move my screen up. Your world will inevitably reflect back to you who you are on the inside. So we will only attract those who get it, or those who are open to it. Yes. Yes, absolutely. It's so massively true. I mean, just the simple fact of just taking the exercise and writing down the 5 people you're around the most, and then writing next to them, whether they're positive or negative, whether they're positive, they're destructive or constructive. Do they bring value to your life? If they don't bring value to your life, then you need to get 5 people that are in those spots that can really help you shine and grow past and actually face the truths of the things that you've been lying to yourself about. I mean, you know that. If we continue to lie to ourselves, then we're going to continue to be in that victim mindset. But when we sit there and we say, okay, what is the truth of the situation? And I've determined this, it's so true. As I'm sitting here writing the book about the experience of my mom and I and our journey being homeless and everything else, and really kind of identifying the different aspects of revisiting that stuff, the truth changes. right?
Yeah, yeah.
As we choose to grow, when I look back and I think about some of the stuff that happened and that my mom put me through, the truth back then, it was that I was a victim, that she was doing this to me, and I was going to get her back and all these different things. But as I've grown and matured, I realized that all those things were happening for me, not to me, and that if I chose to learn the lesson, if I chose to do the opposite of what she was doing, that I might have a different life than her. And that's what I committed myself to doing. My wife just said it yesterday. She goes, "You, above all the people that I've ever known in my entire life, you constantly pursue that internal growth. You're constantly looking for what it is that you need to work on, like to the point where I'm looking at ayahuasca and plant-based medicines to try to figure out what it is that I need to do, because I've done the therapy, I've done the inner work, but I feel like there's still something there. So I'm like, even hungry, I'm like, okay, let's do ayahuasca. I'm scared shitless of doing it, but at the same time, if it's going to help me grow and realize something that I've maybe suppressed way down, then let's do it, because that's going to make me a better person. It's going to make me a better dad. It's going to make me a better coach. It's going to make the world a better place by addressing that stuff. So I'm hungry for it. I love it. And I know you are too.
I'm excited because even when I wrote my quick book, it's the, you do let it go, and yet you don't want to write a story coming from that victim space, but you write it because you want to give people highlights so that they get some of your background. And yet it's very healthy because you're not coming from that place anymore, and you're so removed. And by the time you're done finishing with that work, that doesn't defy you at all anymore. It's something I really, really encourage people to just do. It doesn't need to be polished. It just needs to be done and got over and done with. I'm going to go really quick down these things real quick. I want to say hi to Teodora. And then here, Ellie says, I'm a victim become a victim when I care. Or Victor.
Oh, okay.
And victim became a victim when I care. And then Chip asked, where can I get this exercise? Is it in a book?
I just explained it. Literally, just take out a piece of paper.
Go watch the replay.
Yeah, you could do the tolerations exercise, or you could do the 5 people you're around the most. Absolutely.
And Lenny puts here, when there's a disaster, so many people cry for someone to come save them. Very few people take the responsibility for their own well-being anymore. They need to adapt the mindset. No one is coming to save you. Yep.
So true, Lenny, man.
Yep. I mean, thank you, Lenny, for saying that. Yep. Guys.
And some people are just they love that, and it suits them. They hang around people who sit there and say, "Oh, poor Chris, you were homeless. Oh, poor Chris, and they let you stay in that victim status, as opposed to having real friends who sit there and say, "You know what? You might want to stop wallowing in your shit and get your crap together."
Yeah. And Tedora says, I just spoke the truth to someone today, and they were shocked at first, but then they thanked me so much. They said people don't like being blunt about the reality. It doesn't help people to not tell them the truth in order to help them. You two are awesome. Thank you. And then my friend Carrie, she tried to say that we're talking too effing fast.
What's up, Carrie? Thank you for being here. I just get a little excited, so I talk really fast.
We appreciate you, which is funny because I'm taking Rex's NLP, so I should be talking all different ways.
I just get excited. Slow me down. Just hit the slow.
No, this is just a great topic because we just need to stop for a minute and realize that when people are hurting, they're going to bash out, and that person just needs to. You need to listen. You need to listen to a person first, and everyone should have that space. Just listen. Now, when you're listening, actually listen, because people will tell you who they are when you listen. And that's all the information you need. And if you listen good enough, you can make a lot of decisions. Do I want to continue this? Is this safe for me? Can I help this person? What are they needing? Are they looking for questions, answers? How can they help? Tom Ginn, thanks for being here. But listen to them. And, everyone deserves to be heard. And that's really important. And, do that. Negativity makes people feel like their pain matters. And it is important to listen to somebody. We all need to vent, and it is important. And that's what's sad. People don't listen to other people. And that's the other thing that's a problem, is people don't listen to other people. And then you don't get that person. And that might be the only time you ever get to hear that person. And
Mhm.
that's a sad thing too. And so Scott says you can't teach someone, you have to not what you have not learned from. Yep. Yep, exactly. You can't teach someone you have not learned from. Exactly. So, it's one of those things where listen to them and then see how you can help them one way or another. But, more than anything, listen to learn and know where they're coming from. One skill I honed during my career as an investigator was to how to actually listen to a person when they speak. Stop and listen. Yeah. And everybody
Mhm.
deserves to hear and be heard. There's no doubt about that. And I think most of the time you'll find that when someone's in a very upsetting place, that if you listen to them, just because they know you're listening, sometimes they heal themselves. They calm themselves. Matter of fact, I remember one time, seriously, I was going through a damn situation in my house here. I kid you not. And I called Lenny. I was freaking out. It was a domestic situation. I was dealing with the cops here at my house. I
Wow.
called Lenny and he was like, "But Lynn, let me tell you." I'm like, "Yeah, I know, but just him listening to me, he just calmed me down, is that's all it took is just calm me down. And that's all you ever need is just having a voice, a reason. I mean, I was going to be a
Mhm.
cop. I knew, but when you're in that situation, you just like your thoughts just go out the freaking window. I mean, it just, that's how it is. But just knowing you have somebody on your side and they're listening, that can make the whole difference in the world, you
Mhm.
know, and that can fix the problem. It can help or hinder or fix the problem. And so, you know, if we would do that, I think a lot of the problems would help somebody because then they can calm themselves down and go inside and, help themselves. But
Mhm.
that's why we have a lot of suicide and a lot of stuff because people feel like they can't,
Mhm.
share their voice. They can't, do things that, oh my God, I so want to say this to someone who is self-sabotaging. Well, like I said, it's really, really important for us to just know that we should definitely um, look within and fix the things that we don't like about ourselves and
Mhm.
forgive ourselves and forgive and go forward. And if you don't like something about yourself, change it. You don't
So
have
true.
you don't have to be a prisoner of your habits or something. If you don't like it, change it. And
Mhm.
there are people that are going to hold you from, oh, I remember how they were 10 years ago. That's their freaking problem. Those are the people that still remember what happened in high school. They haven't
Right.
moved on.
Let it go. Let it
Yeah.
go. But
So,
but to your point, Lynn, I mean, one of the things I want to talk about here for a second, I want to identify is the listening component. That is
mhm,
so massively true because I grew up with my mom who wouldn't listen to anybody. It was her way or the highway. And in seeing her failures in life and seeing how the fact that she never stopped to really listen to somebody. My first college class was an interpersonal communications class. I was a seventh grade dropout, went back, got my GED. My first college class was the interpersonal communications class. And I'm like, why are you guys giving me this? I know how to speak. I was like, really, this is stupid. This, okay, I'm going to go to school for this. And I got in the class. And the biggest thing I learned out of that first class was to paraphrase, was to listen to what somebody was saying, take it in, and then say it back in my words. That alone, ladies and gentlemen, spoiler alert, you do that in your life, your relationships will get better. Period.
yeah,
End of story. When you sit there and say, "Hey, Lynn, so I hear you. I hear what you're saying, and you're talking about the fact that people need to listen more." And da da da. When you validate somebody and you actually truly take the time and the care to listen, versus most of us will sit there and try to formulate our response before the person's even finished speaking. I call it selective hearing disorder. The fact that they'll sit there and say, "Oh, I know what they're going to say," and then you interrupt them like, "Oh, so da 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 da." I mean, who hasn't met somebody like that? For me, as excited as I am, I sit there and I pump the brakes and I listen to everything somebody says and then I digest it. And I also listen for what's not being said, especially as a coach. I mean, that's one of my gifts that I can sit there and somebody will tell me something and I'll be able to say, okay, here, this is what I'm hearing. This is what you're saying, but this is what I'm hearing. When we get specific about listening and truly seeking to understand, then to be understood, which is taught in Stephen Covey's book, the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, amazing book. When I started applying that in my early age and really listening to people, I was blown away, Lynn, at how many people started taking likeness to me and really like investing in me because they're like, Chris, you really care, you really listen. And that's something that I got before I became a coach. Everybody's like, I feel like I could tell you anything. And so the fact that when we listen, especially in our personal relationships, when our kids are talking to us, somebody gave me a great compliment recently, and they said, whenever I see you talking to Jackson, I see you get down on his level. I'm like, well, that's the level you want to get with the person. You want to speak with the person. You want to actually listen and digest what it is that's going on. Because there's so many magnificent things that can happen. But most often, again, we assume what's going on. We assume we got it, and we know what assumptions do. So I just want to make sure that I clarify that, because man, it's so powerful to listen to people and really truly understand what they're saying.
Yeah. Like Scott said, reflecting is a good NLP. Yep. Which is what I'm learning. Yep. And, Steve, hi, Steve. Listen,
hey, Steve,
and be sure that your friends know that you heard them. Parrot them. Yep. Absolutely.
Even down to it's a technique called mirroring. When somebody's speaking with you, what type of physiology do they have? What kind of, are they a fast talker? Are they, when you get in their lane and you listen to them, ooh, there's a lot of magic in that connectedness.
Absolutely. And so, no, I'm so excited that we're talking about this, because there's just so many tools that we can use to just better ourselves, to communicate with others. And that alone can heal so many different things. Pace, tone, and pitch. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And so, like I said, we just go about things the wrong way, especially with, the energy. And, like, I guess somebody pointed out to me, it's like the full moon today and tomorrow or something, whatever's going on, just all these different craziness things that allow people to use as excuses or reasonings or whatever. It's just like the trends, or, this has got to be the excuse, or this is what's going on. It's like, why can't you be on your own beaten drum? Why can't you be in your own space? Why can you not? Why do you have to be in everybody else's stuff,
Mm-hmm.
And
we all know somebody like that.
Yeah.
What's Ellie saying? I do listen. I'm quite a good listener. Awesome, Ellie. Carrie says scared. Why is Carrie scared? What are you scared for?
Why you scared?
Why do I scare you? Do I scare you? You said something also that's super huge in this conversation is forgiveness and empathy. What are your thoughts on that? In really being able to get out of that victim mindset, what role has empathy and forgiveness played in your life to make you the person you are today? Well,
I think more than anything is when you assumed, or you didn't know, we always forget. There's so much stuff we don't know about that we assume that we know. And then until you come to that crossroad that you're in that position, and then you can empathize and you could say, wow, I had no idea till I've been there. And then when you're there, you all of a sudden, out of experience, like the Boy Scouts and the brownies and stuff, they get these patches for having these different experiences, right?
Right.
So, you get these little badges of life of, hey, you did this. Now you got the little empathy patch, you empathize with this, you empathize, because we all judge shit, and be careful what you judge, because one way or another, it's going to come back at you. Mm-hmm. And she says she's afraid to be me. No, don't be afraid to be you.
No, that's what I teach people. Yeah. I teach people how to fly your freak flag, woman.
Shoot. We're in our 50s now. We can own whatever we're at. That's where we're at,
I want to tell her a story real quick, talking about that.
Go for it.
I had a coaching client. I had somebody reach out to me. It was last year. They saw one of my walk and talk videos, and they said they wanted to reach out for one of my complimentary coaching sessions, in which we did. And in there, she was 69 years old, and she had been widowed for about 13 years, and just a lot of stuff going on. And I said, I'm going to help you fly your freak flag. And I had never really worked with anybody older. For the most part, I work with, 30s, 40s, 50s, some 60s, but here she's 69 years old, widowed. And we just talked about, being able to own her space in the world. She was worried about what her family was going to say. She was worried about what her church was going to say. She wanted to date again. She didn't want to live life alone. And I'm like, well, let's go. Let's do this. And through that process, we did 2 6-month contracts. And by the end of it, she actually just got married this last August. And I taught her how to fly her freak flag. I mean, it was like, it's never too late. And you just got to own who you are and don't apologize for it. So many people are apologizing. They're putting on the proverbial mask. Like, let me go be this person for those people at work. Let me be this person for home. And let me be this person for my family. And let me be this person online. Just be you. I mean, I'm the no excuses coach. I did it all. I was the suit and tie speaker. I did all that bullshit. I didn't swear. I was like trying to make everybody else happy. I was the people pleaser. And at the end of the day, I was miserable. I was miserable making everybody else happy. And finally, it wasn't being selfish, but that's what we're conditioned. We go back to the conditioning process. All of us, you think about what you guys have been through from 0 to 5, that has shaped a lot of your truths, a lot of your beliefs, and your beliefs will shape your attitudes will shape your feelings, and your feelings will take your actions. So when you go back there and rewire all that stuff and you reframe that to have everything that's happened in your life happen for you, and you take a step back and you say, hey, listen, it's my responsibility to learn these lessons and apply them to continue to grow. When you do that, all that other stuff starts to fade away. You don't care what everybody else is saying or doing. You just do your thing, because at the end of the day, life is so short. And I've talked to people who have been much, much older than I, and I've asked them, I said, if you could go live your life again, what would you do? And this is before I knew about the book, The 5 Regrets of the Dying. Every single one of those people said, I wish I could go back and live the life I wanted to live versus the life I thought I had to live to make everybody else happy. And The 5 Regrets of the Dying, the book out there, the hospice nurse says the number one regret of everybody dying is that they lived a life that they thought they were supposed to live and wanted to go back and live the life that they really wanted to live. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, wherever you're at in your journey, yes, you can today. You just decide to do it. You start taking the action. You get the right people in your life. You'll fly your freak flag all day long and you won't look back. Trust me. I'm a living example, and that's what I teach people how to do. So, and you know that as well. I'm just so passionate about just be you. Just be you. And if people don't like it, then tell them to go find new people. There's 8 billion people on the planet. Let's go.
Yeah. Well, it's just like, my whole thing with lipedema, I'm coming out and talking about that this coming week after I talk to my physical therapist and find out what the mapping of before I can have surgery and all that stuff. I mean, I gotta, there's required stuff of whether it's 3 months, 6 months. I don't know what the protocol is going to be of what I got to do before they sign off. And then I got to find a state that I can go and get this stuff done and all this other stuff. So it's going to be a journey, and it's going to be whatever, but I'm going to educate and share my journey, and it's going to be pretty vulnerable and things like that, but it's like, this is where I'm at now, and this is where I'm going, and this is what I'm doing. And just liking myself now. I mean, it's where it's where I'm at. And, I'm just going to own it the best way I can. And that's, but it's something that I just didn't want to look in the mirror, didn't want to accept it. And that's where I'm at. So,
I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. Every step, thank you. Every great journey begins with that first step. And once you go through that, and once you're able to help other people, that's what I tell people right now is whether they want to become a coach or not. But when they coach with me, they get so excited about going and telling other people what they've been through. I'm like, yes, as we heal, as we grow, and we go share with other people, that's where the juice is. That's where you go to bed at night feeling accomplished. Would you know that you took something that was hard for you and you were able to help somebody go through it and make it a little bit easier for them? That's one of the greatest gifts in the world I get every day.
And I think what is funny is I'm slowly been educating just people around me, and I'm hearing the funniest things because so many people are so freaking ignorant. They don't even know what I'm telling them about this fat disorder. And they're like, but Lynn, you got to be careful when you tell people, because, you're going to be accusing people of having this. I'm like, no, I'm going to tell them what's going on with me and blah, blah, blah. And then they're like, well, no offense. People have been heavy like you, and then they go get gastric and they lose it. So they lose weight. So they don't have what you have. I'm like, let me show you a couple videos and I'll show you otherwise. And they're like, oh, so, I love you too, Carrie. And so, it's so funny because people have no idea and they don't educate themselves. And even some doctors don't even know what's going on in the US, and they're getting educated on this fat disorder. And so I'm just saying, it's so funny because people think, oh, well, maybe if you eat right or if you do this or that, it'll go away. It's
everybody's got an opinion.
Yeah.
I'm always afraid of posting that my back hurts, like telling people like I'm just vulnerable. Like I'm having a shitty day.
Take this oil.
I get
take
fucking
this.
9 million private messages. You got to try this product. I'm like, you don't understand. I have a bone pressing against a nerve. Your powder is not going to shift that. Yeah, I understand it's going to, but people mean well, but it is what it is.
Yeah. I felt that for many years. I felt I owned most of the time. Now I own me. Yep. That's awesome.
Yeah, you
that's
go,
awesome.
girl. Ellie's
So
over in the UK. I spend a lot of time talking and working with Ellie. She's an amazing soul. So
that's
yeah, it
awesome.
starts when you decide to. It starts when you've had enough. You know, so many
Yeah.
people are going around right now and they're so frustrated and they're so angry and they're lashing out. Like you said, hurt people hurt people. This is a great opportunity for us to all go with inside and sit there and decide really what it is, who we are, who we want to be, what legacy we want to leave, and focus on that. Does this bring me joy? Yes or no? No, it does not bring me joy anymore. There's another thing called sunk cost bias where people are hanging on to stuff because they thought they once upon a time they liked it, but now they don't like it anymore, but they're afraid to give it up. And it's like, no, you're supposed to grow and evolve, and your interests are going to change, and you're going to, you know, depending on where you're at in your age and everything, that's exciting. You know, go out there and learn new stuff and be a new person and give to other people in this world. I mean, the biggest thing that I have right now, Lynn, is I look at it this way. I'm 53 years old. And I look at the adults in this world, and I sit there and I think, okay, is it too late for them to really learn? It's not too late for them to learn, but here's the bigger picture. When I look at my son, who's 5 years old, and you know I love him to death. When I think about the world that he is growing up in right now and the world that he could potentially inherit, my biggest wish, goal, prayer, everything is that our kids and our kids' kids can inherit a world that's a beautiful place. It's a safe place. It's a place of equality. It's a place for, you know, that everybody's, you know, it's not this thing that's going on right now where everybody's like, you know, the divisiveness and this is right and that's wrong and da 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 da. At the end of the day, we all want the same thing. It's just the method by which we're going about it. And for me, I just want so badly for our kids and our kids' kids to read in a history book 20 years from now how the grownups of 2020, 21, 22, 23 got together and shifted the dynamic of the world and didn't cause it to blow itself up or something.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with you more. And I want to thank Mary for what she said here, for committing to share your hero's journey. I appreciate that. And
Mary
Tim,
Kay is awesome.
thanks for being here. I appreciate you too. And so, yeah, no, I think sometimes people don't forget of the future of our children. They don't realize the shit that they're leaving behind for them to clean up. And I think that, again, if we don't heal ourselves, this is what we're doing. We're hurting the humanity as a whole. We're bringing all that generational garbage forward instead of reducing it and bringing, you know, peeling the onion and leaving that stuff go, you know, to the wayside. That generation's gone. So should those freaking problems be gone, you know? And the new generation should take over and, you know, and make their own home and, you know, and take care of it going forward and make it better. It's, you know, we should be leaving it better than where we had it, you know, not going backwards, you know?
Yes.
And so, hi, Sandy. Thank you for being here.
What's up, Sandy? Good to see you. I see Tim Gillette's in the house. What's up, Tim? Good to see you, brother.
Yes. And so, you know, that's the thing as far as, if we could take all those things for granted, you know, or not for granted, it's just like, you know, there are some people that said, you know, I won't commit suicide because I wouldn't want to do that to my family. Well, then why don't you think about that as far as healing humanity by healing yourself too?
Yes.
So if you're not going to kill yourself, why don't you stay here, fix yourself?
Right.
I mean, that's a great new concept.
Right. I teach this. I teach the simple fact that you're either part of the problem or you're part of the solution.
Yeah.
So you have to ask yourself, where is it? And the biggest question, I love asking questions, especially of myself when I'm going through these times. One of the great questions you guys can ask yourself is, what am I supposed to be learning from this? Whatever it is that you have going on, you're frustrated, you're angry, you're sad. What am I supposed to be learning from this? And then go seek that answer. You know, I mean, nowadays we have our phones, we have Google, we have YouTube, we have the answers. That's the thing that blows my fucking mind lately is people are so stupid. They're like, oh, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I'm in financial ruin. I'm like, how many books have you read in the last 6 months about financial stability and growing your I don't have time for that, Chris. I'm okay. You're not making time to solve your own problem. The answers are there, ladies and gentlemen. You literally can find them. You can find people with the answers, but so many people are sitting there. No, I tried that before and it didn't work. No, that's not gonna work for me. That's not for me. Nope. And they're just sitting there fucking miserable. And I'm like, good luck with that.
Right. And the thing is that this, and Rex always talks about this, and this is so huge, is people are always talking about the things they don't want. Well, why don't you start talking about what you do want? Why don't you start creating what you do want? Why do you keep talking about the food you're going to eat that you don't like? Why don't you start talking about the food that you're going to create and that you're going to enjoy? Like, why don't you talk about the fact that you can the abundance of creating whatever you want. There is no limits to your imagination. Why don't you create it and worry about the rest later? Why don't you realize that your brain is smarter than you? I mean, like, hello, you can
Oh,
think,
geez.
you know, I mean, our brains are way smart, people. We just don't use them.
Oh, don't even get me started. Don't even get me wound up.
I'm getting you started.
Don't get me wound up. No,
started.
I had somebody tell me probably about 6 months ago, they were seeking me out as a coach, and I was asking them a couple of questions, and it was a lot about health and losing weight and whatnot. And I said, so what do you think is your biggest excuse? And they said, and I quote, I don't know how to cook healthy. And so I paused. I was on a Zoom with them. And I paused and I smiled and I said, you know that I'm the no excuses coach, right? And she said, yes. And I said, so what do you think you could possibly do that would cost you no money, that would give you exactly the answers you want on how to cook healthy? Oh yeah, Chris, I've done that. I'm really not that good in the kitchen. And I sat there and I looked at her and I said, then stay the way you are. And she just looked at me. She's like, well, I didn't expect that. And I'm like, I kind of like to work with people who are interested in finding the solutions and actually implementing them. It seems like to me, this is working for you. Am I right? Am I wrong? We had a good conversation. I told her, I said, you need more therapy than you need coaching. But here's my thing on this. When I talk to people, Lynn, I talk to them every single day. You know this. When I talk to them, I'll ask them, talk to me about your healthcare. How do you take care of yourself? And they'll kind of tell me a little bit of this, a little bit of this, and a little bit of that. They'll try to impress me. And I'm like, how much water do you drink a day? Oh my God, Chris, I should do better on that. Yeah. I'm like, do you feel tired? Do you feel like you can't think? Do you, is your mood kind of negative? Do you feel just kind of like, yeah, I feel like that all the time, Chris. I'm like, as Lynn takes some water, I'm like, okay, so this water, your body is like 75 or 80%. I don't know what the percentages changed. I said, your body is mostly water. So guess what happens when you don't have water in your tank? You don't feel very good. So when you just simply drink half your body weight in ounces every single day, your skin gets clearer, your sleep gets better, your thinking gets clearer, your hair grows better, all these different things just from fucking drinking water. And people sit there and say, oh yeah, all this other bullshit. And then I ask them about their sleep, and then I ask them about their exercise. And I don't have time to exercise. Oh, I do a little bit here. I'm like, and you're wondering why you're not happy. You're not taking care of yourself at the basic level. I mean, I have an Oura ring. So I track my sleep. I take my water. I track my sleep. I make sure I eat. I exercise 6 days a week. Guess what? When I'm not feeling good, I look and I'm like, did I miss any of those components? You got to start with the foundations. Definitely. I was got sidetracked when I saw Ellie said boom, but it's so amazing that people don't take care of themselves. And even further to this point, I realized this, and I think I shared this with you. I've been in a lot of pain for the last couple of months, but what I was eating and drinking during the holidays, I let myself go a little bit. I was still in good shape, but I was drinking and I was eating bread and sugar and all that other shit. My inflammation got way out of control and I was in so much pain. And people were like, oh, I feel bad for you, Chris. I'm like, don't feel sorry for me. I'm the one that fucking did it to myself. I mean, granted, I have biological things that are happening in my back that cause the pain, but I don't do myself any favors when I eat inflammatory things. So I said, I have to take responsibility for myself to not eat those things in order to get my pain levels down. Guess what? It is February 15th. And I haven't had any alcohol or any bad stuff, and my pain is way, way down. So people need to take responsibility for that. This is, oh, I'm in so much pain. And like, what are you fucking eating? Oh, I love bread. I can't stop eating bread. Well, fucking be miserable.
Yeah.
There's also so many other alternatives out there. That's the last thing I want to say. This is, the fact of, oh, I like my sugar. I like this. My wife has proven there are so many recipes out there that you can use so many different things that will taste like sugar that aren't sugar. It's like, oh, I made this with this, that, and this, that, and the other thing. And I'll taste it. I'll be like, holy fuck, it tastes like chocolate. Let's go. You got to do it. Sorry, Michael. Catch us on the replay.
Yeah. Well, like I said, all these things can heal you yourself. If you take the time to heal yourself and you're not walking around in pain and you go, and somebody, you do that to somebody like, what the hell's wrong? Well, they don't know you're in pain. You just look like an ass for doing that. I mean, and then you got to explain and have an excuse. Oh, but I'm sorry, Chris. I just had so much pain. It's like, minimize your freaking excuse. You don't have to do that if it's just amazing how people don't understand that if, you don't leave your house without taking a shower because you're going to stink and people are going to know you're going to stink, right? So same thing goes with your stinky attitude. Clean it up before you go to be with people. You know, like you're going to go do a family reunion. Make sure you take your happy pills or try to be happy or exercise, drink water, do whatever you got to do. If you know you're going somewhere and they don't cook good, go eat a freaking good meal or go have do something to let go of the anticipation of where you're going, or if it's not going to be a good thing, you know, and look forward to something. But be present. Just let go of these things that don't serve you, that are going to make you regret the way you're going to spew over to people in this ugly way, because you can't take back. When you treat people wrong, you can't take back how you treat them, what you say, what you do. You can't take that back. You can't take it back. And you know, when you continue to verbally abuse people and disrespect them, I mean, you're just killing whatever love they have for you. And you only have yourself to blame. And you got to take ownership for that.
So true. So true. I mean, you know, it's for me, honestly, Lynn, when I try to keep things as simple as I possibly can. So when I think about the conversation, I like I said, again, you know, it's either you're part of the problem or you're part of the solution. The other part of it is that I've learned in the last couple of years, you can either look through life through the lens of love, or you can look at life through the lens of fear. And with fear brings scarcity and all that other stuff. When you look at it through the lens of love, and I'm not talking Pollyanna, like, oh my God, I love everything. Everything's just so beautiful. You know, like the stereotypical tree hugging hippie or whatever. But when you sit there and you really truly see life as a blessing, and you see every opportunity as a blessing, and you see the gratitude and the things that we get to experience on a daily basis. Like you said, so often we're looking at the things that we don't have, or we're looking at the things that make us angry. Well, what is that going to do vibrationally? That's going to attract more things, because our reticular activation system, our RAS, is keen on looking for the things that will validate what our truths are. So if we think it's going to be a shitty day, guess what? There's going to be every opportunity for our RAS to find, okay, it's a shitty day. Look, that guy can't drive, and look, see, and then you get to go bitch to all your friends. See, everything's shitty, and all your friends will say, oh my God, you saw some shit. I saw some shit too. And they just sit there and collaborate every single day, instead of asking, so Lynn, what are you doing to grow yourself this week?
Yeah.
I mean, having conversations that actually will build steam and build momentum for us to continue to shift. I mean, that's why I surround myself with you and surround myself with so many amazing people, because I know you're not afraid to tell me the truth. You're not, hey, Chris, I see this and you could be doing this. Thank you. But so oftentimes we're looking at the things that we don't want, or we're looking at the things that we have zero control over. But again, going back to that lens of love, like being grateful for everything that we have right now. If you're not happy with what you have right now, adding more shit to the pile is not going to make you more happy. It's dealing with what's inside of here. Because when I look at people in third world countries who have nothing, they have a plastic bottle to kick with, and yet they're smiling and laughing. That's the key to happiness right there.
There you go. Just say Tiny has sat my tablet and not moved since you started. A smart cat.
Oh, that's her cat.
Oh, yeah. It's only a
what's
crappy
up,
day until I get my coffee. That's his belief system. His coffee is his magic.
Yeah, you don't need no coffee.
Oh, well, you know what? I'm so thankful that you've been here on a Tuesday, because Tuesday night is when you have your show. And tonight you're gonna have Kellen.
Yeah, Kellyanne and Shelly. Kelly and Kel and Shell.
Yes, and what time is that Pacific time tonight?
7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Okay, that's awesome. So that's going to be right around the corner before you know it.
Pretty soon.
So,
yeah, it's gonna be a great conversation. They're a lively bunch, and we're gonna talk about impact and whatnot and beliefs, and just have a great conversation.
That's really awesome. Well, you guys, I think Christopher is so riled up here, and I really think, England?
Ellie's in England.
Oh, is she?
Yeah, she's
I
the
don't
UK.
need coffee, but I want it. Now I want my moonshine.
There you go. Tim, that's my boy, Tim.
I love it.
The bartender life coach.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, he does. His happy
he was the
hour
rocker
time.
life coach way back when I first met him.
Yeah. I thought it was too early for your show, Christopher. Yep. No, he's on Lynn and Scott's show today. he's guest hosting tonight. So, but again, this has been great. I think, do you want to have any closing thoughts before we leave?
I can't believe this time is already done. I was like, I have so much more stuff to talk about this.
Well, we can talk just a little more. I just don't want to, I know you want to get ready probably for your show. So I don't want to.
Oh no, I'm good.
Oh,
I have a
okay,
phone call
then
after this and then family time. It's my
Okay.
show's raw and unscripted. I just show up.
Okay, then
No,
let's go a little bit more.
Well, I think for this, ultimately, when I think about this conversation, we can't do anything about the past, right? The only thing we can do with the past is we can choose to see the past as happening for us and not to us, and sit there and ask ourselves, what is it from my past that I need to make peace with? Whether it's my childhood, whether it's a divorce, whatever it might be, what is in my past that I need to peace with? And go address that. Go make your apologies. Go do that. Go have empathy and forgiveness. Go seek first to understand. Apologize to those people. And when you do that, it's amazing the weight that is taken off your karma, the weight that's taken off your soul. And when we start taking things off of our soul that weigh us down, there's more capacity for us to love ourselves, to be proud of ourselves. The second point is to really consider, why do you want to be, or who do you want to be remembered for? Right? When you think about when I was in a funeral back in 2004 or something like that, literally I was watching people go up there eulogizing one of my coworkers. And I asked myself a simple question. I said, if I died tomorrow, who would show up and what would they say? If I died tomorrow, who would show up and what would they say? So you guys can play along at home with this one. And for me, I thought, okay, 10 or 15 people will show up. They'll show up with Jack Daniels, Miller Genuine Draft, Bon Jovi, Motley Crue records, and they'll tell a bunch of stories about how Chris did stupid shit. That's what I thought back then. He was homeless and he got out of that and he got his degree and blah, blah. But they would come there and they would just light me up. Like, oh my God, remember the time that Chris did this? Remember that time he passed out and we put a bunch of food on his head? Remember that time he chased that girl? Whatever. And so I went home and I wrote my eulogy. And when I wrote my eulogy, ladies and gentlemen, from that point forward, I had a roadmap of the person that I wanted to be every single day that I woke up. And from that point, I have literally lived that eulogy to this day, which is Christopher Rausch will have fought for what was right and what was fair. He will have risked for which that mattered, and he will have left the earth a better place for who he was and what he did. So when I wake up in the morning, Lynn, first thing I say before my eyes open, I say what I'm grateful for. And then I set my intentions for the day. My intentions are to fulfill that legacy. And then whatever else I'm intending for that day. So when I'm going through my day, and I did it today, I'm like, is this what I set out? Was this my intention this morning to kind of have these thoughts and these feelings? And I'm like, no. I'm like, what do I need to do to process this, to understand this, to let it go? And then I meditated and I went into gratitude and I went into, some belief systems and some affirmations. And by the time I was done, after 20 minutes, I felt way, way better. So it's just really, again, what we said at the top of the show, we got to take personal responsibility. If you're not happy, nobody's coming along. There's no magic pill. There's no one-day class. You got to do the work. And trust me, yes, it will be hard. Yes, it'll be difficult. Yes, it'll be challenging. Like Chris, it's going to be hard. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you this. As a very successful coach for over 20 years, somebody who's done the work himself, it is hard. It is challenging. It's everything you want to describe it as, but it is worth it. It is absolutely 100% worth it. You eat shit for right now for a couple of years. You do the work that you need to do. The rest of your life is going to be way greater than if you sit there and hope, wish, and pray that someday you're going to be happy. And those are my thoughts.
I'm just laughing here, Chris, because back in 1999 till about 2008, I used to laugh and say, man, if I die, man, I said, I got 3 girls. You guys be nice, man. I used to sell adult toys and lingerie. I said, don't bring your toys over to the funeral for my kids, man. Don't be doing that shit. I was always like, oh, man. So yeah, I used to crack up and be like, oh shit. They're like, you guys will be bringing and buzzing your toys.
It's a puppet show.
Oh my God, we lighten up the place. Anyways, but so I was just laughing as you were talking about your eulogy. So
got it right the eulogy.
But anyhow, yeah, so I truly know that I can't believe I just shared that right now. I'm just glad it was you, not Scott, talking about that.
Hey, there's only 40 million people watching, so it's okay.
Oh shit! But anyhow, I'm just laughing my butt off here. So yeah, the biggest thing is that if anything, remember, you have to forgive people for yourself too. You cannot go ahead and hold these grudges against people, because that does not give you the ability to be at peace. You have to
True.
do it just as much for yourself as for them. Yeah, and so Tim goes, "Oh wow, something new I learned about you." Yo, you know what? That's what people don't understand. My shows, every show, I always give something personal that people don't know about me. And so if you watch over 300 shows of mine, there's shit in there that I sprinkle that people they could write a really good book if they would listen. But anyways, yeah, so no, that's true. But seriously, yeah, so I'm cracking myself up over here.
You're cracking yourself up over here.
Yeah, I am. But no, seriously, I really feel that if you don't realize that forgiving other people, it really is for yourself. And people they forgive people and they feel that they're not happy because that person's not forgiving them, and they can't forgive themselves. You only have to apologize once, and if you made the apologies to them and they don't accept it, or they haven't that's their problem. You already tried to apologize. That's on them. But do the best you can to make you feel good about it. But again, you do these apologize and you forgive them too, because you want to be forgiven. And people forget that as well. So
there's
yeah,
3
it's
parts to apology too, by the way. I'm sorry. It was my fault. What can I do to make it better?
Yes. And don't do it again. Because that's the worst disrespect, is saying you're sorry and then you do it again. Come on, people. And taking responsibility. Take responsibility for every part of the part that you have in it.
Yes.
And if we did that and say, I'm sorry for my part, it would be amazing how you could heal things. Because you forget what you said would provoke or get a reaction from someone else. You have to take ownership in that as well.
Yes.
And that's the problem with the humanity of healing others, is that people don't feel like they have the right, it's the ownership to think that everyone owes me an apology. Well, maybe you need to apologize, because when there's a problem and you're there, maybe you were part of the problem.
Yes, ma'am.
So again, it's a dog following its damn tail. Why is it following its tail instead of somebody else's tail? That's a good question, huh?
Because it's there.
Yeah. So I think it. Well,
Yeah, no, that's
okay.
I'm glad you closed on that, because it's so important. There has been situations that I've been involved in and I've taken responsibility for, and I've apologized to people, and some people choose to move on and they're cool, and some people just don't. I wish them well at that point. I'm like, but I see that cycle that they're like, oh well, yeah, but you need to do this and you should have done this and da da da. I'm like, I can't change what I did 20 years ago, but here's what I could do. I can apologize for it now and ask what it is that I can do. But so many people just live in that victim mindset. They because it serves them.
But I guarantee that person that's also bitching about that, I guarantee that they're not left without doing something to somebody else that they have to not have taken ownership on.
Oh yeah.
So we are all guilty of something. We're all not perfect, but we're perfect the way we are. So with all that said, we're coming up in an hour here. It was great having you here. I appreciate you so much. I love you. You did survive. I saw that comment you gave to Scott. I don't know what I'm getting into.
I don't know what
Lynn.
I'm stepping into.
Yeah.
I've done shows with you.
Yeah.
No,
and we are going to start doing some pop-up stuff with this lipedema thing and me. I'm going to be being the plus model here, showing some booty and showing my Latino body and being all a little racy and whatnot. I'm going to be like, I'm going to have my little attitude and whatnot. So, there's Justin, Mr.
What's up,
Rockstar.
Justin?
He's the man. He's the man. I know
I'm
going to screw up.
There you go, Justin.
Oh yes.
Highway
Justin.
101 CBD.
He has some good stuff, and I do take his drops for sure. So you are awesome, Justin. All right. I love you. Everybody,
Love you
thank you
too.
so much. I'll see you next week. I will have Sandra Horton with me, and then Scott will be back with me the following week. Love you guys. Be safe, and have a good one. And watch.
Take kick ass, people.
Yeah, and and watch Christopher and his show here in just a little while with Kellen, my friend. Okay, love you guys. Bye.
Love you guys.